Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek, and welcome to my Sunday live news stream where I've just curated the word, some news articles for us to have a look at and talk about, and all that stuff. Hot tubs news stream. I haven't got a hot tub, but I wouldn't mind one, but I haven't got one. Anyway, that'd be interesting. But I'm not on Twitch anymore. I'm on Kick. Let's just make sure we're going. Yes, we are. We're going on Kick. And we're going on the other one. What's the other? Rumble. If it starts. Come on. There we go. Yes, we'll have a Rumble. And we'll have on YouTube. Fingers crossed. Yes, we are. So there we go. So, on all those platforms, don't forget to like or follow, whatever, subscribe, all that stuff on the various different platforms. Share the content. Join us in the chat. Windgrace is here already. And or drop a comment afterwards and all that stuff. Links for all these articles are in the description, and later on I'll be putting timestamps in and all that stuff. Wingris says, "What is the kick thing? Slip and slide streams? I've no idea. It's another version of Twitch that people seem to be talking about. So I just thought I'd give it a whirl. Where were we? Timestamps, I said that, didn't I? I'm also on Facebook, X, and Thingamabob. Get away, you. Instagram. I'm all a dither today, I am. I'm all a dither. Links are in the description for those, as are links to my 2 books, Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats eating people in North Yorkshire and stuff. I'll read the back. Shall I read the back? Sod it, I'm going to. The idyllic peace of the northern English countryside is shattered when gruesome killings occur close to a large government laboratory. Dun, dun, dun. A local schoolteacher and a maverick scientist find themselves on a deadly quest to track down a family of big cats that regards a small Yorkshire village as its hunting ground. Also, Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action-adventure about UFOs and stuff. Sod it, I'll read the back of that as well. When Bill Lewis is abducted by extraterrestrials, little does he know that he will embark on an adventure that will see him pitting his wits against the alien forces intent on destroying the Earth. Mercury Rapids offers a fun, thrill-filled ride for all science fiction fans across the galaxy. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Give them a whirl. News. Yes, we'll get on with it. I saw there was another big cat story a couple of days ago, or at least it made the news here 2 days ago. Oh, I never noticed that one. They're cropping up everywhere in the UK. Anyway, right, so let's get on with this news. Right, so off we go. Right, first up. Oh, shattered. Oh, dearie me, I'm buggered. Right. Here we go. First up, from Fandom Wire, written by Shreya, reviewed by Cyantan, and they've got normal names. Maybe they are their normal names. Henry Cavill most likely agreed to play one of these 2 X-Men in the MCU, including Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And there's Henry Cavill as Superman, and there's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That's what I look like in a vest. Marvel Studios is set to introduce the X-Men mutants into the MCU earlier than expected. They were even hinted at in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series in 2022. Now it is reported that after leaving the DCEU and the Witcher franchise, Henry Cavill has likely reached an agreement to portray one of 2 X-Men characters in the MCU. One possibility is Wolverine. The role Hugh Jackman played. I'm sure Gary from Nerdrotic or somebody has said Henry Cavill's going to be playing a version of Wolverine in Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine, whatever the hell they're calling it. Anyway, it looks like after the DCEU, his involvement in the MCU is highly probable and fans can expect him to portray an X-Men character. There have been rumours for years about Henry Cavill joining the MCU, especially after he left the DCEU. Some fans suggested the former Superman actor should portray MCU's Captain Britain because he's from the same country as the character. Even Cavill himself has expressed interest in playing Captain Britain, Brian Braddock, in the MCU in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "I have the internet and I've seen the various rumours about Captain Britain, and that would be loads of fun to do, a cool modernised version of that, like the way they modernised Captain America. There's something fun about that, and I do love being British," with a cup of tea in his hand with his pinky out like that. Some fans think that the 40-year-old might become the new face of the X-Men, while Marvel Studios might prefer younger actors for lead roles in an MCU reboot. X-Men fans have been editing photos of Cavill as Cyclops, Wolverine and Beast ever since he exited the role of Superman. Now the actor has supposedly agreed to join the MCU in a role other than Doctor Doom, as reported by @MyTimeToShineH a few days ago. It is speculated that he might have been chosen to play either Cyclops or Wolverine, two of the main X-Men characters. And here's the tweet. Marvel Studios will reportedly be bringing X-Men mutants to MCU. Blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, whatever. It's hard to predict what role Marvel Studios has planned for Cavill in the MCU, but considering he's a highly sought-after actor in Hollywood, they probably have an exciting role lined up for him. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Kevin Feige shared some insights about the X-Men in the MCU. While the president of Marvel Studios didn't reveal too many details, he teased working on introducing the iconic mutants. Look at what he said. "I don't know if it's delicate, it's super exciting, but the X-Men are as solid and rich and great a concept and characters as exist. There's the return of the animated series next year, which we're very excited about. I saw some new final episodes today, which really bring you back to that core of who the X-Men are, and that soap opera that those characters represent. And then in live action, people will see, perhaps soon." Wink. I bet he did a wink as well, with his glassy eyes. Marvel intends to bring back the mutants and the X-Men in their superhero universe, but first they're focusing on the Fantastic Four movie set for 2025. The X-Men won't appear until after that, along with the conclusion of the multiverse saga in Avengers the Kang Dynasty, except they're not calling it that anymore, are they? I think it's just Avengers 5 at the moment. I haven't thought of another name yet. And Avengers Secret Wars. There we go. So there we go. But like I said, I'm sure I've heard somebody say that he's going to be in Deadpool 3 as a multiverse version, I think, of Wolverine. That's what I've heard. Don't know if it's true. Next year, when was this interview? Well, yeah. Well, it is. The Fantastic Four is coming out in 2025, isn't it? June, isn't it? Is it June, the set for 2025? Which is a bit of a push, if you ask me, unless they're well into filming. You never know. Glad Paul Giamatti is doing the Western film. Is he? I have no idea. I've no idea. Anyway, let's move on from that. I think we've got some sad news next, have we? Or is it... hang on, where are we? Where's my buttons? There we go. Oh no, I'm doing them at the end. A couple of rest in pieces, and they're at the end. We'll save them for last. Right, Star Trek's next. No, he said X-Men cartoon comes out next year, but it comes out next month. Did he? Oh, hang on, let's go back and have a look. Bear with me. Where are we? Oh, yes, he did. Yes, the return of the animated series next year. Yes, he did. Yes, he did say that. Yes, he did. I don't know then. When was it? In an interview with Entertainment Tonight. Is that it? Right, let's look at this link, and then we'll see. 2023, November 8th, 2023 is when the interview were posted on X. So yes, it was last year. I've got a notification. Well, Nancy Graphics likes my post. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Nancy Graphics. Yeah, so it was last year. Was that interview? Invincible movie and Dead Zone remake are coming. Cool. Invincible as in from the Amazon animated thing, which I've not watched yet. I've watched season 1. I mean, I haven't watched season 2 yet. Keep forgetting about it. But Dead Zone, we'll see. The original were fine. Why do a remake of an original that were fine? But anyway, with Christopher Walken. Cool film. Right, next. Star Trek. There we go. From Trek Core, Ken Riley. Watch Star Trek Discovery's final season trailer, which we're going to do in a moment, and see new photos from season 5. Speaking of photos from season 5, I know it's Black History Month and all that, but it's not a very diverse crew there, is it? A very diverse image. Nothing will be said. Awaiting Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Yes, my son said he wanted to go see it at the cinema, but he seems to be changing his mind. Anyway, let's get on with this. Star Trek. We're just 6 weeks away from the return of Star Trek Discovery for its 5th and final season, and today Paramount Plus has released their first trailer yesterday. Or the day before. I don't even know what today's date is. The day before, wasn't it? Has released their first trailer for the upcoming episode since 2022 and several new images from the season. Right, so we'll watch it. I'll mute myself and we'll watch it, and it'll be rubbish.
It has been a hell of a journey. But everything ends someday.
The Discovery is my home, my family. We've always been able to find answers together.
Being a part of a crew, being where you need to be, when you need to be, that's Starfleet.
Last dance?
I shall follow your lead.
The greatest treasure in the known galaxy is out there. It's more important than you can imagine.
A search for one of the greatest powers ever known.
It could be very dangerous in the wrong hands.
This clue is the most important thing. We have to keep it safe.
Let's fly. Crew, the family I found in Starfleet. We made a pretty good team.
That'll be crap. It will. Anyway, Wingrace says, the greatest treasure in the known galaxy is the friends they made along the way. Solved it, and I'm only half joking. That's what it'll be. And that bit where she were hugging Tilly, you know, it'll be nothing dramatic. She's just going to the academy, isn't she, to become a teacher or whatever, probably. And Tim Rose is here. Looking forward to season 5 of Disco. It'll be rubbish. They've been rubbish since season 2. I did like season 1, though, for the most part. But I've not much faith in it. But at least it's the last season. Anyway, notable images from this trailer include a massive multi-story story library there. Tarina, Tara Rosling, and Saru Doug Jones. So they're still an item. Looks like it, doesn't it? Captain Rayner, Callum Keith Rennie, screaming. So what race is he then? Don't know. Got pointy ears anyway. Unlocking a mystery box with a self-sealing stem bolt nearby. Look. Hey. And is it just me, or is David Cronenberg? I keep expecting him to like eat a human finger or something, you know, something gross. Those characters like, you know, a baddie. Anyway. There's mirror universe stuff hidden in the trailer, is there? Oh, and possible time travel. Not surprised. Why is Tilly in season 5? She's already an instructor in season 4. She must come back. Much like Worf in the Star Trek movies. He ended up back on the Enterprise somehow, didn't he? Is he Romulan? All right, fair enough. That's it. I don't care. A shot of Starbase 1. Right, whatever. A starship graphic panel displaying the symbol of the Terran Empire. There you go. There you go. Along with this action-packed trailer for Discovery's final 10 episodes, so they've reduced the season numbers, haven't they, the episode numbers. The streamer also debuted several new photos from the upcoming year with 3 previously released images. Captain Michael Burnham. I still don't understand why they've called her Michael. Just because for? Is that the only reason? On the desert speed bike. Because it's the 32nd frigging century. Captain Michael Burnham on the desert speed bike. Captain Burnham on the hull of a warp speeding starship. It's the 32nd century. Treasure Hunters. Is it Laak or Lack? I don't know. I have a lack of faith in this series. And Malin, Mol, Ravel, Eve, whatever. Are these going to be like the soldiers of fortune sort of thing in it? I don't know. It's the wrong Starbase 1 though. So do they go back to Strange New Worlds era? I don't know. See, Windgrace remembers all this stuff. I have no idea. I watched season 4 of Discovery. Well, I've watched all this. Apart from season 1, I watched the episodes in season 1 several times. But then I've just watched each episode just once. So I don't remember sod all about it. Captain Rayner, Callum Keith Rennie at Starfleet Command. Okay. Burnham and Saru aboard the Discovery. And this is Saru's quarters because he likes his plants, doesn't he? Or is it just, hydroponics bay? Don't know. Saru and Burnham on a mission in a lovely garden. Adira Tal on the Trill home world. Book, David Ayala with Burnham and Dr. Culber, Wilson Cruz in the not very diverse image. Lieutenant Tilly, Mary Wiseman in the crew lounge with friends. Oh dear. Culbert and Tilly share a moment. Paul Stamets aboard Discovery. We have much more on Star Trek. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's coming April 4th. Let's get it over with. Let's get it over with. To be fair, I didn't watch Discovery at all until season 3 was out. So it's more recent to me. They called him Michael because they couldn't spell Michelle. They thought they were being clever. That's what it was. She's only a lieutenant. Who's only a lieutenant? Hang on, where are we? Tilly. Well, that's it. Oh, our Lieutenant Tilly, yes. Well, she was a cadet in season 1 and season 2, I think. Could be wrong. Skipped over ensign. I don't know. No, they did make her an ensign, didn't they? So she didn't say an ensign as long as bloody Harry Kim, did she? Anyway, and them guns look horrible. That looks like a laser pointer, doesn't it? Like you'd see at a presentation. That thing. And that thing, I don't know. That looks like a Nerf. It looks like fire Nerf things, doesn't it? Bloody awful. It is. Right, let's move on. Move on, for Christ's sake. What's this one? Oh, right. This one's going to get me angry as well. From the bloody headline, I was screaming. Well, I wasn't. But I was raising my voice at the screen. This is from Slash Film, who wrote this. Whitney Seibold, of course. Why Star Trek's original Romulan Warbird? It's not a Warbird. It's a bird of prey. They've got it wrong in the bloody title. Design never made it into the next generation. The Star Trek episode Balance of Terror, December 15th, 1966, features a face-off between the USS Enterprise and the mysterious Romulan Warbird, except it's a bird of prey. They're different things. It's a Nerf doomsday machine. The gun, previously. Romulan Bird of Prey, equipped with a cloaking device. The Romulan Bird of Prey, get it right, it's going to get me angry, this, is a flying saucer-like craft with warp engines protruding from either side and a wicked-looking tail fin on the back. There it is. But we were told that their engines were simple impulse. That's what Spock said. But they had to be warped, didn't it? Unless they were dropped off by a bigger ship. I don't know, but anyway. As I said, original series Star Trek, and even TNG, and even all the Star Treks, they're not perfect, and they do make mistakes, and they do get things wrong. Romulan Warbird, lol, didn't make it into TNG because it was already old in TOS, but it's not a Warbird, it's a bird of prey. Where were we? It's coloured light grey, like the Enterprise, but sports a painting of a large orange bird on its underside. Large orange bird, it's a bird of prey. Most ships on Star Trek are solid colours, emblazoned only with identification letters and maybe a racing stripe. Warbirds with their bird painting looked like World War II bombers. The painted Romulan Bird of Prey from the original series is a far cry from the types of ships that the Romulans would be seen piloting in Star Trek The Next Generation, set about a century later. On Next Generation, Romulan Warbirds would be about 10 times larger, solid green and constricted with outsized bird-like heads. The wingspan of the Warbirds consisted of a large oval loop. These were Warbirds. A smaller craft could conceivably fly through it, and looking at the ship from above revealed a tapering shape. Yep, there isn't any reason it needed to be in TNG. No, there isn't. Some say the Romulan Bird of Prey because they stole a prototype from... Some say the Romulan Bird of Prey because they stole a prototype from Starfleet. What are you talking about? They called it the Romulan Bird of Prey because that's what they called it, the Romulan Bird of Prey, in Balance of Terror. Why would the prototype be in Starfleet of a Romulan Bird of Prey or a Bird of Prey? They called the Klingon Bird of Prey in Star Trek 3 because originally that script were going to be the Romulans, which is why they had the cloaking device. But they changed it to Klingons. Anyway, the update came hand in glove with most of the visual updates made between Star Trek and The Next Generation. Two shows made 21 years apart. The Enterprise D, for instance, is likewise larger than the original Enterprise, and it sports a swooping elliptical design rather than brutalist efficiency. There were, however, still similarities. Even in Next Generation, starships featured an upper saucer section, a lower drive section, and a pair of warp engines that protruded from either side, unless it's a Constellation class, which has 4. And occasionally we won, didn't we? One warp engine. One warp nacelle, not warp. It's not the engine, they're the warp nacelles. Although sometimes in Enterprise, and in Star Trek, they are referred to as warp engines, but they're not. They're the warp nacelles, the engines in engineering. Anyway, whatever. Right. Why was the new Romulan Warbird so dramatically different? Because it's a different ship. The 2012 book Star Trek The Next Generation 365 by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman might have the answer. It seems the new design was a wholly fresh idea by designer Andrew Probert. And there it is. There's a Romulan Warbird. Dideradex class. Bloody cat was over the keyboard. I get a feeling this is a waste of time to vomit something onto the website. Yes. But the nacelles aren't the engine. No, they're not. Although they have been called them in Star Trek itself. But they're not. They're just the nacelles with the warp coils in that create the warp field. Warp bubble, I suppose you could call it. Anyway, right. Dear. Probert recalled working on the Enterprise The Neutral Zone, May 16, 1988, A notable episode as it was going to be the first time the Romulans had been seen since the days of the original series. Before getting to work on designing the Romulan ship, Probert examined the Enterprise D and noted that it was a flat, wide ship with a sharpened, chakram-like edge. Indeed, the Enterprise D is almost as wide as it is long. Probert figured that the Romulan ship should be the opposite of the Enterprise D and designed a ship that was more vertically oriented. He said, but before we do, there we go, that's what he means that way. I didn't have any information except that the Romulans were coming back and that we had never seen their ship before. Since the Enterprise is so horizontal, I wanted to contrast it with a vertical ship. Have we ever actually seen the impulse engine? Well, you can see the red lights, but that's just the exhaust, I suppose, isn't it? They'll be there somewhere. Anyway. They'll be in schematics, won't they? They'll be in schematics. His initial designs were indeed vertical. Too vertical, it seems. They featured a sideways burger-shaped command centre out front, and then a large elliptical Uranus, I won't say Uranus, even though I just did, Uranus-like ring reaching up and down behind it. One can find pictures of Probert's initial designs online. All right, I will open link in new tab. We'll have a look in a minute. Evidently, some of the show's producers thought the up-and-down look was too odd for Star Trek and demanded a more horizontal design. It was then that Probert first came up with the more bird-like shape the ship would ultimately have. This new draft, however, featured no bottom wing, being a little more open. It was essentially a bird in flight. Right, so we'll have a look at that. Right, so we'll have a look. Let's have a look at these other designs. What have I done there? Just click something I didn't mean to. Right, where are we? Which one is it? That one. Right, designing the Romulan Warbird. So where's the... oh, there we go. There's the initial... Oh, I've seen this before. There's the initial design. Yes, I've seen that before. Cool. And there's his other design, but then he ended up doing another one of them, didn't he? Right. Cool. What I was trying to type before is that the Bird of Prey was a Starfleet prototype that the Romulans stole the plans for. That's the first I've heard of that. Hugh says, some people say it. Well, that's some people, isn't it? Can't see it myself. You can also see the original design in Lower Decks. That might be where I've seen it. Anyway. I forgot what I want now. There we go. Right, where were we? Eventually, through several redesigns, the bottom wing would appear and a preliminary version of how a Warbird looked would manifest. Roddenberry wasn't around, and there's a view from the side. Probert admitted that he began making his Romulan designs without much input from show creator Gene Roddenberry. If Roddenberry had been more active in production, no doubt the show creator would have had something to say about the way the Federation's oldest enemies might look. As it stands, the designers... Oh, let me shift that. As it stands, the designers were left a little adrift, leaving them free to make up what they wanted. Probert recalled the lack of oversight, but also his confidence in how well his initial designs would have been received. Part of Locarno's fleet in this last season used the vertical version. Probably where I've seen it before then, that, yes. I know I've seen it somewhere. At this point in the series, we didn't see Gene Roddenberry anymore. Gene had always been open to suggestions. I was in awe of how he had created the show, and my respect for him was enhanced by the fact that he would sit and listen to your ideas. He may not have always used them, but he would always listen. I felt that if I had shown him the vertical Warbird and explained my reasoning, he would have considered it. Hence why there was no the original series era Warbird on Next Generation. A single rogue designer merely wanted to do something different. What? Probert was a little miffed, however, that the final on-screen version of the Warbird was a lot smaller than his imagination. He imagined the ship to be 4,440 metres long, whereas the Enterprise was only 641 metres long. Sadly, the VFX team on Next Generation never put their models close enough together to give audiences an idea of how big they were in comparison to one another. The Warbirds were still bigger, it seemed, but not enormously so. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be like 2 or 3 times bigger than a Galaxy-class ship, something like that. Regardless, it's a pretty cool-looking ship. Oh, there we go. Yes, it is. I like the Romulan Warbirds. Dideredex class, whatever that means. I'm sure it means something in Romulan. But there we go. But I don't know what they're talking about that for. Why would that appear in TNG? It appeared in Picard, didn't it? Was it season 1 or season 2? Season 1, wasn't it, of Picard? There were a kind of souped up Romulan Warbird. See, I'm at it now. Romulan Bird of Prey. In that, wasn't there? And there was one in, we saw one in Enterprise as well in the season 2 episode Minefield, but wasn't like that, because that was set before the Romulan War, and it actually looked more advanced than that, but, whatever. The Klingon Bird of Prey plans were provided to them by the Romulans after the Klingons provided DSEMs to the Romulans, hence the bird-like design. Yeah, I've heard that one before. That said, they did an exchange, didn't they? Of cloaking devices and all that. Apparently named after Praetor Dideredex. All right, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Right, let's move on. Yeah, it was a bit of a waste of time, that, wasn't it? But whatever. What we next? Screen rant. Mark Donaldson. Sticking with Star Trek. Wrath of Khan would have been ruined by a rejected Star Trek TNG episode. A spec script for TNG would have pitted, whatever, Picard's Enterprise against a resurrected Khan, undermining his character and ruining the end of Star Trek 2. A rejected storyline for Star Trek The Next Generation. By the way, later on, I think Sci-Fi Quest on this channel, go and subscribe, is doing a watch-along of Star Trek 2. A rejected storyline for Star Trek The Next Generation would have undermined Khan, Noonien Singh, Ricardo Montalban, and ruined the ending of Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. In your opinion, widely considered to be one of the best Star Trek movies of all time. No, it's the best Star Trek movie of all time. The Wrath of Khan has left a lasting impression on the franchise to this day. There have been many attempts to recapture the spirit of the acclaimed Star Trek The Original Series movie, with the most notable being J.J. Abrams' controversial Wrath of Khan remake. Star Trek Into Darkness. Controversial. Bloody awful. Yes, I think it's winning grace. Star Trek The Next Generation is also guilty of revisiting Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan in pursuit of a great movie idea. The final TNG movie, Star Trek Nemesis, effectively remade Khan with 2 Star Trek TNG characters fulfilling the roles of Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner, and Captain Spock, Leonard Nimoy. In Nemesis, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, is faced with an implacable enemy, while Lieutenant, I went all British then, while Lieutenant Commander Data, Brent Spiner, sacrifices himself to save the crew of the Starship Enterprise. However, this wasn't the only time that Picard and Data revisited the Wrath of Khan. There she is! In 2017, Vulture revealed that writer-producer Mark Bernardin, isn't he Kevin Smith's friend? I think he is, isn't he? Does podcasts with him. Sent a spec script to the start at the next... only an hour till that stream. So if I'm still here doing this, bugger him. I'm kidding. Mark Bernardi sent a spec script to the Star Trek Next Generation production office that was entitled Past Present. The episode was set up as a sequel to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, but with a wild twist ending. From what Bernardin remembered, the story involved the USS Enterprise D navigating an unpopulated region of space when they're attacked by a mysterious foe. With the Enterprise disabled, their enemy is revealed as Khan Noonien Singh, who was resurrected by Star Trek II's Genesis device. Resurrected? He was vaporized. Oh, dear. When the, Reliant blew up. Note, Mark Bernardin was the supervising producer on Star Trek Picard Season 2, which suggested that one of Data's ancestors was involved in the creation of Khan Noonien Singh and his fellow augments. Yes, it did. The Khan Project. By the end of the speculative episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, it was revealed that Khan was not alive, but was actually a holographic reproduction created by Data to test the crew's battle readiness. That'd have been shit. Picard, concerned about the crew growing rusty while navigating an unpopulated region of space, inadvertently ordered Data to create his elaborate simulation, complete with inertial dampener manipulation. While the return of Ricardo Montalban would have been a draw for audiences, the reveal that he was merely part of what Bernardin called a big-ass motion simulator ride would have seriously undermined his ending. Oh, why? 'Cause it's not him. It's a hologram of him. If he had come back, if it were like, somehow Khan has returned, that would have undermined his ending. But anyway. Planet Khan. Considering its name, it wasn't particularly reliable. It were a cool ship with a Reliant. I love coming up with these Trek stories, but that's so fanficky. Yeah, I meant no wonder it were rejected. Anyway, Star Trek Nemesis was never planned to be the end of the Star Trek Next Generation movies, so screenwriter John Logan and data actor Brent Spiner began plotting a fifth entry. John Logan and Brent Spiner's Justice League of Star Trek pitch would have teamed up with Tom Hardy's shins on. With Khan Noonien Singh. He died. Anyway, and some other franchise supervillains. To combat the threat posed by Star Trek's supervillain team-up, Picard goes back through time to get the assistance of Captain Kirk and Captain Jonathan Archer, Scott Bakula. That's fanficky. And they're bloody the actual people on the show and they've written films. Oh, God. The expense involved in Logan and Spiner's pitch for a fifth Star Trek The Next Generation movie and the failure of Star Trek Nemesis at the box office, I like Nemesis, apart from the Mad Max bit, meant that the story was never developed further. That was definitely for the best, as it sounds like it would have repeated many of the flaws of Nemesis, namely too much focus on Picard and Data at the expense of the rest of the Enterprise's crew. The biggest flaw in the Justice League concept, however, was that Kirk and Khan had already had their greatest battle in the unimpeachable Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. It's on available to stream on Max and Paramount Plus and other places. Wingray says, I just watched a video about pitched ideas for Voyager. I guess they asked a Voyager fan to pitch 3 ideas and they were all crap. I blame him for us not getting a chance. Oh dear. La'an and Kirk have a baby and call it Khan in Strange New World. In the past. Do they go back in time again? We've seen Khan, haven't we, as a kid? I love Strange New Worlds, but they're mucking. It's a different timeline. They're mucking up the proper timeline. I don't even know what the proper timeline is now, so what the heck? It's gone all bloody... It's like Rick and Morty now, isn't it? Star Trek. You don't know what's going on. Anyway, continuing on. Star Trek Nemesis... hang on, I've read that bit, haven't I? Oh, yes, no, we're done. Right, sorry. We're done. I thought we were continuing then. Picard, my old friend. Anyway, wasn't Data... I don't know now. In Nemesis, was Data full commander? Had he been promoted? I don't know. Because Riker was sodding off to the Titan, wasn't he? With Deanna after the wedding. And Data were going to replace him as first officer, wasn't he? So had he had this promotion yet to commander rather than lieutenant commander? Anyway, I like that Khan episode because it proved it's an alternate timeline and I don't have to worry. Oh, that one, yes, in Strange New Worlds. The episode itself were okay, but the messy, the fiddling, aren't they? The faffing with it. Yes, Data was going to be first officer. Yes. So did he get a promotion to full commander? I've no idea. I can't remember. It's been a while. I haven't noted. I didn't check his pips. Shall we have a look? Hang on, let's have a look. I can find a picture of Data in Star Trek Nemesis. Right, let's have a look. Images. One where we can see his pips, for Christ's sake. Is that one? They all point it wrong way. Oh, there we go. Is that one? Is that from Nemesis? Yes, it is. No, he's got like Lieutenant Commander pips. Oh, I was hoping he got a promotion. Never mind. What rank did he have in Picard season 3? I don't think he had any rank, did he? Because he were new. He were new Data. Anywho, let's move on. He was Data Law. He was officially Data Law, wasn't he? Named after the episode, because he was half Law and half Data, and some other things thrown in as well, wasn't he? Anyway, we're sticking with Star Trek and Screen Rant. Dana Hansen this time. For everybody's favourite episode of Voyager, it's one of mine, and I'm not lying, it is. Tom Paris actor explains moral of Star Trek Voyager's Salamander episode. Tom Paris actor Robert Duncan McNeill explained what he saw as the true moral of Star Trek Voyager's controversial Season 2 episode Threshold. I love Threshold. He got blue eyes, bless him. Pardon me. Tilly was first officer for a while too. I think she was acting captain for a while, wasn't she? Apparently an ensign can be first officer. I was in lower decks. Well, yeah. Kirk in JJ Trek were a bloody cadet, and then suddenly were a captain. Unbelievable. They should have given him the Voyager pips they gave the Maquis. Yes, they should have. Like a bar, wasn't it? Whatever. Right, okay. Although Star Trek Voyager Season 2 episode Threshold was highly unpopular, but not with this Star Trek fan, Tom Paris actor Robert Duncan McNeill explained the episode's surprisingly compelling moral. Lieutenant Tom Paris was the USS Voyager's pilot, navigator. What wanted? They were just him, weren't there, at the front? Usually there's two in there. There's usually the helmsman and the ops, or the helmsman and the navigator. There's usually two anyway, but on Voyager there was just one. There were just Tom. Yes, pepperoni pizza, yes. Pepperoni pizza, God! I'd love some pepperoni pizza. Bless him. Again. Right, where was he? Pilot, navigator, and sometimes medic for all 7 seasons of the show, and a member of Voyager's main cast of characters. Tom began the series as a bitter, jaded, convicted felon who acted as though he didn't care about anything. However, during Voyager's journey through the Delta Quadrant, Tom found his convictions, worked through many of his issues, and became a model Starfleet officer in the process, and a dad, and a husband. Tom was the subject of many wonderful Voyager episodes, but one of his less than stellar ones was Season 2, Episode 15, Threshold. It's ace! He goes in the history books. He breaks the Warp 10 barrier. He's up there. He's up there with the other people, with Thingamabob, Zephram Cochrane, and all the others that have broken barriers. During the episode, Tom achieved the monumental feat of breaking the Warp 10 speed barrier, but soon after began de-evolving, except he wasn't, he was evolving, into a salamander-like creature due to occupying all points of space at once. Towards the end of his evolution, he wasn't de-evoluting, he was evoluting. That word. Tom kidnapped Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, turning them both into salamanders before the two mated, well, kidnapped and sodded off in the shuttle that had the Warp 10 engine in. Turned them both into salamanders before the two mated on an alien planet. The episode's weird premise and highly bizarre ending earned it an extremely controversial status in the Star Trek timeline. I like it. It's not one I skip. Anyway. Kirk's JJ career, delinquent cadet, commander captain, admiral. Yes, they offered him an admiralcy, didn't they, in Star Trek Beyond? No Commodore for him, straight to Admiral. He's the very model of a modern Starfleet officer. He is the very model of a modern Starfleet officer. I don't know the rest. Lol. Right, where were we? However, Robert Duncan McNeill stated that despite general confusion about Threshold, he still attempted to find something relatable in the episode's premise. Oh, by the way, we've got images, so let's have a look what we got. There he is. He's starting to go funky after his Warp 10 trip. There he's getting more. It's a bit like The Fly. His tongue comes out and everything. Quite gruesome, really. And there they are as the salamanders. And they have kids that we see later, and they just leave them there. They're fine. Just abandon them. Even though they are the children of your crew mates. Anyway. And there's Janeway being very diplomatic about it. But, you know, I wouldn't complain. I think she's hot. I do. Losing his tongue scarred me or scared me. Both, maybe. It was weird, wasn't it? Brundle Paris, yes. Right, where were we? Speaking to Cinefantastique after Threshold aired, McNeill detailed his struggle to understand the episode's plot and his work to find its true moral, which he used as a grounding point for his performance. For McNeill, the simplest point of Threshold turned out to be something that connected back to Tom's larger character journey. Read McNeill's full quote below. What? After Threshold, so this is from the 90s then. I thought it was going to be some new information that he just said. Maybe on his podcast he does with Gareth Wong, how he pronounced it. No. Anyway. When you try to tell the story, he breaks Warp 10, starts shedding skin, he kidnaps the captain, then he becomes one with the universe. He and Janeway are salamanders and have a baby. They have a few, don't they? And it sounds ridiculous. What is this about? Before you can even start to tell the story, you have to find the moral. What is the simplest point of this episode? Once you can say that in a sentence, then that is what the episode is about. To me, the whole Warp 10 challenge and salamanders and all of that frosting was about Paris trying to find some sort of salvation outside himself and ultimately realising that he had to find his own self-worth from within. Here is somebody who thinks he's got to break Warp 10 and prove to everybody, his father and himself, that he can do this outside thing, but ultimately your happiness comes from within. Well, yeah, they said that in the episode because he nearly didn't do it because Janeway went to talk to him that the doctor said there was something about him that it could be dangerous for him. You know, he has a 70% chance, a 30% chance he'd die or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so it was a risk. But like I said, he wanted to prove, something that he could do, something that his father could be proud of. McNeill's thoughts about Threshold show that he worked hard to make sure the episode was grounded in something believable and, more importantly, relatable to the audience. The idea of finding validation from within is something that everyone has some experience with, and even knowing that McNeill attempted to base his performance in Threshold on reality makes the episode seem a bit less ridiculous when looked at in hindsight. It's not ridiculous, it's a cool episode. Ultimately, Tom Paris's character arc during Threshold isn't what the episode is remembered for, but perhaps it should be. The thing I worry about is how the hell do you get a shuttle to go to Warp 10? But anyway, you think you'd need a massive warp engine to get to Warp 10, wouldn't you? But whatever. Something else that Star Trek's a bit flaky with. How big do your warp engines have to be to go faster? But anyway, like runabouts can go at warp 8. They're tiny. Whatever. The emotional arc. Hang on. Don't forget, you cannot break the laws of physics till the captain has Scotty to. Yes. You cannot break the laws of physics. The emotional arc. That were in the... when they were spiralling down to Psi 2000, wasn't it? The emotional arc that Tom Paris goes through during Threshold is often overlooked, but is ultimately the plot's greatest strength. Tom's self-worth issues in the episode tie back to many of the things the character struggled with throughout Voyager's run, and Threshold was the first time audiences got any significant insight into Tom's relationship with his father, Admiral Owen Paris. Something that became more important as the series progressed. Apart from the more ridiculous plot elements, Threshold was a dive into Tom's psyche that Voyager hadn't done before Season 2, and gave needed insight into his character as a whole. However, these facts are always overshadowed by everything else that made Threshold so controversial. When compared to things like Tom and Janeway's Salamander offspring, one character's emotional journey can easily be overlooked in favour of the episode's more shocking moments, like his tongue coming out, that scarred Windgrace. This is unfortunate, since Threshold could have been a significantly better entry for Tom in Star Trek Voyager's canon. However, the episode will always be remembered for other things beside its more nuanced elements. Source Cinefantastique, Volume 28. It's a cool episode. I like Threshold, and I've always liked Threshold, and I don't know why people rag on it. As we've discovered in Relics, he often exaggerated the problems. Yeah. Well, this is it, how... You always multiply your repair estimates by a factor of 4 or something, don't you? Otherwise, how can you be remembered as a miracle worker? So there we go. Anyway, that's Threshold. So it's not really about breaking the warp barrier or turning into a salamander. It's about doing something to make yourself and your family proud of you, basically. Doing something from within. Anyway, so there we go. Hey, Windgrace, it could have been worse. It could have come out in someone else's mouth. Oh, dear. When he's snogging Bellana, although they were a thing here in Season 2, were they? Anyway. Let's move on, because we've got to fire through these, because Sci-Fi Quest's stream is rapidly approaching. We're on to Star Wars next. Right, go away. Right, The Acolyte has a tentative release date, exclusive from Collider, Chris McPherson. There's the logo. It's going to be rubbish. Following our report that the upcoming Star Wars series The Acolyte would be launching this summer, Collider has learned The Acolyte is currently slated to debut on Disney Plus on June 5th, 2024. Disney's representatives did not deny or confirm our reporting when reached for comment. So does that mean it's true then? Don't know. The Acolyte, which hails from creator Leslie E. Headland, is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era, which nobody cares about. During the show, a former Padawan will reunite with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. The show will be set 100 years before the events of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, a time which is known as the High Republic. Why? I don't know. Because nobody's read the High Republic books. The era of the High Republic has been documented extensively via Star Wars books. Well, maybe it has, but nobody reads the buggers. And the era is currently the focus of a publishing initiative that goes by the title Star Wars The High Republic, which has sold literally dozens. The scope of the expanded Star Wars universe, both in time and space, has been one ripe for exploration, a theme that was touched upon when Collider's Maggie Lovett spoke with Kathleen Kennedy back in 2022. Quote, "We actually were intrigued with that, because if that show works, then it really gives us an opportunity to expand on that. And that's what's so great about television, because it gives us sort of this larger playground for experimenting. It'll be rubbish. And it'll do crap. It'll be rubbish and it'll do crap. Nobody will watch it. Viewers think it'll be really low. And it'll not get a second season. And people will be saying, Kathleen Kennedy should be fired, but she won't be. As with most studio slates these days, the Acolyte's release date could be pushed to later in the year, but it is currently slated for June 5th, 2024, which would see it debut a month after the final episodes of The Bad Batch. Oh, excuse me. A trailer is reportedly ready to be released, but it is unclear when Disney plans to unveil it. Star Wars Day, or May the 4th, be with you, could be an ideal day to share it with fans who didn't catch it at Star Wars Celebration last year. And there's Leslie Yee Headland and the other people, and Amanda Stenberg, and I forgot his name. Right, Collider can also confirm that Michael Abels, the composer best known for his work alongside Jordan Peele in his 3 feature films Get Out, Us and Nope. And of those, there's only Nope I really liked, and even that wasn't perfect. Has also been tapped to produce the score of the upcoming series. Abels also composed the opera Omar, about the life of Omar ibn Said, based on his autobiography, A Muslim American Slave, The Life of Omar. I don't know how to pronounce it, Ibn Said. Written in 1831, mostly in Arabic. For his work on Omar, Abels, alongside composer and librettist Rhiannon... What's the librettist? Is that some singing thing? I don't know. Rhiannon Giddens was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Music in 2023. Apologies, by the way. I'm a bit stuffy today, and I've blown my nose and everything, but I'm still a bit stuffy. Abel's score for Us received countless end-of-year nominations at numerous award ceremonies, while it was named Score of the Decade by The Wrap. Amanda Stenberg was first attached to lead back in December 2021, but Lucasfilm didn't confirm their casting until Stenberg, blah, 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 blah. We don't know all this. Jodie Turner-Smith, yes. Patriarchy, yes. You missed a point. We won't get a second season. And they say, good, we didn't want one. Yes, they'll say that as well. There was never going to be a second season. We told our story in the episodes we had. No one wants this show, yet alone a second season. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. People that are in it. There we go. And so they go. June 5th, according to Collider. Where they got their information from, I don't know. Collider's not what it used to be, but anyway. At least they're not doing deep fakes anymore. That Collider seemed to just be doing deep fakes and stuff, didn't it, for a while, after it sacked everybody. But anyway. Let's move on. Because I don't care about the Acolyte. Right. Screen rant again. Kevin Erdman. There we go. Rogue One Easter egg may have secretly set up Bad Batch Season 3 8 years ago. Star Wars fans may have spotted a potential connection between 2016's Rogue One, a Star Wars story, no one ever calls it that, and the newly released Bad Batch Season 3. Oh, pardon me. Right, a key line from Rogue One, a Star Wars story, may have helped set up the events of the Bad Batch Season 3 almost 8 years ago. As seen in the 2016 Star Wars movie from director Gareth Edwards, Rogue One reveals the story of the rebels who stole the Death Star plans and got them to Princess Leia Organa ahead of 1977's Star Wars. To that end, the scene where the plans were actually obtained may carry an important connection to the Bad Batch and its final season, currently streaming on Disney+. In Rogue One, the team of rebels led by Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor make their way to the surface of the planet Scarif. While the rebellion keeps the Empire busy on multiple fronts, Jyn and Andor infiltrate the Empire's centre of military research, where the Death Star plans are held. To that end, Jin looks through various projects within the Imperial records, naming a few before ultimately finding Project Stardust. However, one of these briefly referenced plans in Rogue One may point to the Bad Batch Season 3, as noted by Twitter ex-user Thrawn's Treason. There it is. So, in Rouge One, Jyn Erso finds Mark Omega, or Omega, however you want to pronounce it. I always pronounce it Omega, as one of the code names. And as we know, the Empire is looking for Omega now. Locate Omega, Mark Omega. What if this project is about finding Omega? He likes saying that, doesn't he? And bringing her back because the Empire needs her. There we go. Project codename Stellosphere, Mark Omega, Pax Aurora. Are they all going to come back in some form? Who knows? I mean, is that really an Easter egg? Is it just, writing a story based on what came before? Or is it just a coincidence? It's like that thing, innit, with in Civil War, with not Civil War. Was it Civil War? Or what it? I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Civil War, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Captain America: Civil War. That's what I'm talking about. With the Winter Soldier, and one of his words, that activate him, were homecoming, and everybody thought that had something to do with Spider-Man, but it didn't. So sometimes words are just that, aren't they? Sometimes they're just words, and it's a coincidence. Anyway, as noted by Thrawn's Treason, it's possible that Rogue One could be a referencing the events of the Bad Batch Season 3, in which the Empire is actively hunting the young girl Omega. I'm going to pronounce it like that, sorry. Due to her immense value to Emperor Palpatine's ongoing cloning experiments known as Project Necromancer. In Rogue One, the Death Star plans are identified as Project Stardust, a name that the battle station's chief engineer Galen Erso had given to his daughter Jyn when she was a child. Just as he'd hoped, Jyn found the project and later delivered the plans to the rebellion so it could learn the Death Star's key weakness Galen had secretly added to the design. However, other projects were named such as Stellar Sphere, so that could be like star, round, I don't know. Pax Aurora, that's peace, isn't it? Aurora, I don't know. War Mantle, Cluster, Prism, Black Sabre. See, War Mantle's popped up, hasn't it? And Black Sabre's popped up, and Mark Omega. Naturally, Mark Omega is particularly interesting considering the events of the Bad Batch Season 3. After all, Omega is currently a high-value fugitive on the run from the Empire. Likewise, it's also known that bounty hunters such as Fennec Shand and Cad Bane will soon be involved, just as they were in the animated show's first season, when Omega first became a runaway clone desired by Kamino's leading engineer, Nala Se. I think I got her name wrong in my review. I think I said Lama Su, didn't I? Whatever. They all look alike, these Kaminoans. Because bounty hunters often refer to their targets as marks, it's quite possible that Rogue One's Mark Omega, it's a cool name. There should be like a rock star called Mark Omega, shouldn't there? Anyway. Is it really called Project Necromancer? That's kind of crap name. It is a bit. It's a bit near the knuckle, isn't it? It is. The same Omega from Doctor Who. Yes. Omega. I'm pronouncing it how I want to pronounce it. I think yes, Omega was in The Three Doctors, wasn't he? With his weird mask. And he were like, not really there, wasn't he? He were like fading away or something, wasn't he? Anyway, because bounty hunters often refer to their targets as marks, it's quite possible that Rogue One's Mark Omega could be the details of the hunt for Omega, which took place years prior to during the Dark Times. Seeing as how Jyn was searching through Imperial records, this could logically be a report of this past mission, which is actively happening during the episodes of the Bad Batch Season 3. Furthermore, it wouldn't be the first time that the Bad Batch has explained one of Rogue One's referenced Imperial projects, Project War Mantle. It's certainly notable that Rogue One's war mantle was explained in the Bad Batch Season 2. Supported by Grand Moff Tarkin during the Dark Times, Project War Mantle was headed by Vice Admiral Rampart as the gradual replacement of the former Republic's clone troopers in favour of recruited soldiers from across the galaxy. A new era of the Imperial Stormtrooper, as officially declared by Emperor Palpatine himself in the Imperial Senate. As such, it is not outside the realm of possibility for the Bad Batch Season 3 to reveal the origins of another named project, first referenced in Rogue One. That's it. There we go. So, yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting. Like I say, we've seen the Black Sabre, although it got destroyed, didn't it, in Mandalorian, so that could be a reference to that. Don't know about Pax Aurora or Stellar Sphere. It sounds like a group, doesn't it? Like do you remember Zig Zig Sputnik, that pop group in the 80s? It sounds like the names of the members of that, doesn't it? Mark Omega, Stellar Sphere. But anyway, Amiga. Yes, the Atari Amiga. Yes, Mark Alpha versus Mark Amiga. Yes. I'm not going to say Omega. I'm not going to say Omega. I'm going to say Amiga. So there, so shut up. I don't understand how the amount of times they fire the Death Star in Rogue One, how did it remain a secret? No, because pretty much everybody that watched them do it were dead. Watched them fire it were dead. Pretty much. So there were no witnesses, were there? So that's how it remained a secret. Anyway, so there we go. So that's interesting, though. It is interesting that all these little... So I wonder if will some of the others come to pass? Will we see... Not in Bad Batch, I shouldn't imagine, because that's ending, isn't it? But in upcoming stuff, will we see more of these? And was it deliberate? Or did they just make up... Did they say, just make up some code names for projects, and maybe we'll come back to them at some point, and they just picked out the ones that, that they wanted to use, and one of them just happened to have the word Omega in it. Amiga. Atari Amiga. Zig Zig Sputnik, remember them? What were it? I can't remember the name of the song now. Some Love Bomb F1011, something like that, wasn't it? I can't remember. Right. Let's move on. What's next? Still with Star Wars. We're getting there. Screen Rant again. Kevin Erdman is being busy. As the fella. Project Palpatine does sex a lot. Yes. Or he disappears into a little room with a copy of whatever the Empire's version of Hustler is. Twi'lek Babes or something like that, or Twi'lek, however you want to pronounce it. Some people are theorising that Omega is actually Rey Bull, but they believe it. Well, she's the wrong age, isn't she? Unless she's going to age slowly. That's the way she's different. Anyway. Star Wars explains Rey's father, speaking of Rey, 5 years after the rise of Palpatine. There's Rey. Nothing against Daisy Ridley. I think she's lovely, but, the character. I actually like the character a bit in Force Awakens. Until she went all, OP. But never mind. Star Wars has finally revealed key details about Rey Skywalker's father, who was still quite a mystery following the rise of Skywalker, named in later Star Wars media as Dathan. Wasn't that the Edward G. Robinson character in Ten Commandments? I'm sure it was. The son of the Emperor, who was by no means a confirmation that Palpatine had sex at some point in the Star Wars, in the SWARS canon. Is that what we're going to call it now? SWARS. Instead, Dathan was part of Palpatine's resurrection efforts, though the Bad Batch Season 3 has shed new light on why he was ultimately rejected by his father. By his father. I'll be watching the prequel starting Wednesday too. Solo and Rogue One also next week. You're going to be busy, aren't you? Blummy number. The Rise of Palpatine, a raunchy teen comedy coming soon. Oh dear. under the cloak. What we're going to do? Oh, my, I'm just looking something up because I can never remember the name. No, I've just remembered it. Never mind. Right. And the mother was Jodie Comer. I just remember Jodie Comer's name. Ray's mother. Anyway, a scene in The Bad Batch Season 3, set during the Dark Times, the Empire's Advanced Science Division is hard at work with clone experimentation in service to Project Necromancer, the ultimate goal being to create viable clone host bodies for the Emperor to transfer his essence in the event of his death, essentially allowing Palpatine and his Empire to be immortal. However, this task was easier said than done, and Ray's father, Dathan, whatever, represents one of Project Necromancer's key challenges, having been created as a genetic strand cast with low force sensitivity. I bet when he was born, I bet Palpatine would say, "The force is not strong with this one." Chuck it away. Bet took it to like the Spartans throw the babies off that cliff. It was like that, wasn't it? Need the views and hours. Hopefully subs too. Well, that's it. We'll see. I'm inching towards the 3,000 watch hours. Inching slowly towards it. While healthy, because people don't watch my streams for very long. Right? So I think my voice puts them off. Oh dear. So I get a lot of, average view time, like 30 seconds. But anyway, while healthy, Dathan carried an extremely low force sensitivity, despite being created from Emperor Palpatine's genetic template, meaning he was viewed as a failure beyond continuing Palpatine's bloodline. However, The Bad Batch Season 3 has confirmed the core challenge of Project Necromancer was always creating a viable clone template that could either match or have an increased midichlorian count compared to the original specimen. What's me telly on? What's that gone on to that for? I've just noticed that. You've got racing cars bombing about in the background. How long has it been like that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, dear. I just saw out the corner of my eye. Let's find what I was watching. I had my background, my thingy. My wormhole. That's what we're supposed to be watching. No, not with an advert for Amazon. Let me skip. No, thinking that my bloody... Oh, bloody hell. How long has racing cars been bombing around? I'll probably get a copyright strike now from Sky. Anyway. Winggrace says, I'm inching away from them because my hit video is a year ago. So I'm watching my views crater this week. But we're neck and neck, aren't we? In subs. We're neck and neck. Anyway. But you're monetized, aren't you? You can have super chats and all that stuff. Anyway, where were we? I forgot where I was now. Original specimen. Yeah. Instead, clone bodies would often have lower M counts, with many at risk of rapid deterioration, explaining Palpatine's decayed appearance, despite his resurrection in The Rise of Palpatine, as his new body could not sustain his power. I always thought it was just manky because it had been burnt in when the Death Star blew up. I just thought they'd found his remains somehow, because he went flying through space like... Ah! Anyway. This explains why the young clone Omega, Atari Omega, seen in The Bad Batch is so valuable to the Empire. Her rare genetic makeup, theoretically allowing her to maintain an infused M count. Apparently this was not the case for Dathan, which resulted in his rejection and later escape from the Palpatines' hidden Sith world of Exegol. Not that well hidden, though, was it really, when all said and done? As such, this ultimately led to Dathan falling in love with his wife Miramir, is that what they called her? Played by Jodie Comer, and the birth of their child, Rey, Palpatine's granddaughter. It's somewhat debatable as to why Rey had power in the Force when her father's M count was so low. Skips a generation, you see. As a failed genetic strand cast. I've monetized myself despite YouTube. Yes, you go the Streamlabs route. I've got a Streamlabs account, but I just can't be bothered. Miramax, yes, those Miramax fucks. Sorry, I said it. Sorry, but it's Jay Silent Bob in it. I forgot where I was now. However, there are a couple of intriguing possibilities, with the Bad Batch confirming that low M counts were an issue for the majority of clones. The artificial nature of manufacturing force sensitives via cloning might have been something the microscopic sentient organisms were against when it came to Dathan's creation. Maybe Miramax, or whatever she's called, Miramir, maybe she had a high midi-chlorian count. I don't bloody know. Additionally, the source of race power could have actually come from her mother's side, as opposed to the genetic tampering connecting her to Palpatine. Despite Kylo Ren and the Emperor's belief in the rise of Palpatine that race power came from Palpatine himself, it's also possible that the Force sensitivity just skipped a generation. I've just said that. And that Rey was more inclined to have a higher M count with a more natural birth compared to her father in the Swars canon. There we go. Whatever. Whatever. Who cares? Didn't really explain it though, did it? Maybe it tried to. All this talk about Palpatine putting his essence into bad clones really gives a gross meaning to Bad Batch. Tatty Watter. If you know what that means, you know what that means. Right. Oh dear. Apologies for me snuffling. I'm a bit bunged up. I've not got a cold or anything. I'm just a bit congested. Right, where were we? Right, this next one's from Slash Film. Is it Whitney again? No, it's Michael Boyle this time. A fellow Star Wars actor warned Ewan McGregor not to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think I know what it's going to be, but we'll see. There he is. Hello there. As much as Star Wars might seem like a clear net positive for any actor's career, history has shown that it's not always as good as it sounds. Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin in the first movie, was famously bullied out of acting for his supposedly bad performance. He was in that thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, wasn't he? He was in that. So, you know. He was crap in that as well. Jingle All the Way. He was in that, wasn't he? Natalie Portman also struggled to find work after the prequels because her performance as Padme was considered pretty wooden too. She wanted in loads of stuff. Basically, everyone involved in these movies is indeed a perfectly fine actor. The problem was just that George Lucas is bad at directing his actors, as shown by how even Christopher Lee and Samuel L. Jackson seem to be performing below their abilities. Proofreading. #proofreading thing of the past. Even in the agreed-upon good movies in the franchise, the actors involved could sometimes struggle to find meaty roles later on. Mark Hamill became a much-celebrated voice actor after the original trilogy, while Carrie Fisher carved out a career for herself as a prolific script doctor. Still, there's no denying they were strongly typecast as Luke and Leia, which undoubtedly complicated matters when they tried to find roles in live-action movies and TV shows that went beyond cameos designed to make audiences go, hey, remember Leia? But that's what happens though, doesn't it? If it's something popular, you're just remembered for that forever, no matter what else you've done. Anyway, just ask William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Among the lesser-known actors to come out of Star Wars with some regret is Dennis Lawson, who played Wedge Antilles in the original trilogy. Antilles certainly gets some love for the more hardcore members of the fandom, but the role itself was fairly thankless and unremarkable, as Lawson's nephew and eventual prequel trilogy star Ewan McGregor remarked in a 2020 interview. He was always really dismissive of Star Wars because he did a couple of weeks' work sitting in a cardboard spaceship, and yet he had this massive following. It sort of annoyed him. Because he's a bit of a knob, isn't he, Dennis Lawson? When all said and done. He's a bit like a grumpy curmudgeon when I've seen him in interviews and stuff. Anyway, although Lawson has clarified in other interviews that he doesn't hate the franchise or anything, he has expressed plenty of frustration with how the gig he did for a couple of weeks in the 70s, early 80s has so thoroughly overshadowed his impressive work in other films. Excuse me. Same with the fella that played, I forgot his name now, Michael Carter, who played Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi. He also played the fella in the Underground, London Underground. They got by the American Werewolf in London. I'm sure he's done loads of other stuff, but they're just the two roles he gets remembered for. And probably makes quite a bit of money at conventions, selling his autographs. But anyway. Quote, I get bored with journalists asking me about Star Wars, and somehow that has been transposed over into me hating the films, he told the Scottish Field in 2017. Alec Guinness, he didn't like Star Wars, did he, really? But it made him more money than all of his other films combined. It's a frustration that plenty of artists have struggled with over the years. Michael Keaton of Batman fame did a whole movie about it in 2014. What are he called now? I forgot the call. Yeah, that one where he played as basically playing himself, wasn't he? I forgot they called it now. And it's one that Lawson wanted to spare McGregor from. As McGregor recalled, he was one of the people who said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then the nearer I got to it, the more I wanted to do it. Birdman, yes. I was going to say Birdie, but that was a film about that jazz saxophonist or whatever, wasn't it? Or trumpet player or whatever. Yes, Birdman. Which I've not seen, but I've heard it's good, and it's supposed to look as though it's all done in one shot or something, isn't it? But I've never seen it. Where were we? But while McGregor is still probably best known for his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi, it hasn't overshadowed his career to the same extent as his uncles. From Fargo, maybe just Ewan McGregor's a better actor than Dennis Lawson. Because I've got to admit, I've not seen Dennis Lawson in a lot of stuff. I think he's in the film The Machine, which I've got over there, which we'll probably do one day in Magnificent Mondays, because I like that film. And there's a baddie in that. From Fargo to Christopher Robin, Dr. Sleep and Birds of Prey, McGregor's given us plenty of fun mainstream roles to talk about over the years. It probably helped that the prequels just weren't as well received as the original trilogy, whereas everyone loves to reminisce on the films Lawson starred in. Most viewers, even Star Wars fans themselves, have often been happy just to pretend the prequels never happened. Well, they did. That hasn't stopped McGregor from getting his own prequel spin-off series, of course, which were hilarious, but it has helped him achieve a freedom in his career that other Star Wars actors haven't gotten. That word. When asked if he's glad he took on the prequel role, another word that Alec Guinness hated, gotten. Should have stayed out and not gotten involved. He hated that word. Because it's like an American word, isn't it? When asked if he's glad he took on the prequel role back in the 90s, McGregor in 2020 answered immediately, I'm so glad I did. Was that it? Right, very good. Fair enough. Another non-article. Sorry, guys. Anyway. The Island. Love that film. Yes, it's a good film, is The Island. For Michael Bay. I think it's probably Michael Bay's best film. Heavily sponsored by Microsoft, I think, wasn't it? And Xbox in particular, I think. But yeah, because it's got ScarJo in it. That's probably why I like it. It's also got... what else? It's got somebody... Oh, what the hell? One of the other actors, and I forgot who it is. It's either from Star Wars or Star Trek, and I can't remember which one. Or maybe even Stargate. I've forgotten. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, never mind. Right, let's move on. Let's power through. Right. One last article, then a couple of obituaries. We'll end on a down note. But anyway. Right, Gareth Edwards, the creator-director on shaking up Hollywood's visual effects. There he is, with the creator. My second favourite film of 2023. Hollywood director Gareth Edwards. This is from the BBC, by the way. Emma Saunders. I sounded a bit like Terry Wogan then, didn't I? Of the BBC, by the way. Old wibbly wobbly. Hollywood director Gareth Edwards has always done things differently. Now his latest film has all the tech heads in Tinseltown talking. Best known for blockbusters such as Rogue One, A Star Wars Story 2016 and Godzilla 2014, which I like. And now rumoured to be helming the next Jurassic Park movie, his sci-fi action film The Creator is in the running for Best Special Effects and Best Sound at the Oscars next month. I might actually have to cancel tonight and shift it to tomorrow. No, don't do that, unless you want to, but, don't just because I'm still going. I've nearly done anyway, and I'll come over when, when you're ready. When I've done here, I'll come over to your stream. So, don't feel like you have to hang on here. If you've got a stream to do, go to your stream. Don't wait for me, Don't think you're obligated. Oh, not because of you. All right, okay. Don't think you're obligated to hang about listening to me waffling on. But anyway, it's up to you anyway. It's up to you. Right, where were we? The film sees John David Washington play Joshua, an ex-Special Forces agent, as a future war rages between humans and artificial intelligence AI. It's basically between America and the rest of the world. That's what it kind of is. The movie also stars Gemma Chan and Alison Janney. Speaking to BBC Click's Spencer Kelly, Edwards says, I used to jokingly refer to the style of the film as if Terrence Malick had sex with James Cameron and had a baby. That was the ultimate high benchmark of what this film was trying to do. And look, Terrence Malick's films are shit. Well, I think they are anyway. I think they're boring. I've only seen two, Badlands and Thin Blue Line, and I thought they were both crap. But anyway. Waffles. It's impressive visuals. Check out that huge military spaceship called the Nomad. Have been widely praised, especially given the film had a budget of around $80 million, £63 million sterling, a third of what a special effects heavy movie like this would usually cost. By the way, speaking of money, sorry, I know I'm distracting, but I'm watching Gary Nerdrotic's live stream today, and he got a he got a super chat for 10,000 Paraguayan whatevers, and I don't know if Gary knew what I didn't know. I had to look it up. It was PYG or the currency, Paraguayan something or other, and that amounted to. I looked it up to see what it was, and the current exchange rate is a Paraguayan whatever is equivalent to 1/10,000th of a pound. So 10,000 was like, well, it was, I don't know, it was less than a penny, wasn't it? A lot less than a penny, a thousandth of a penny or something like that, or a tenth of a penny. Anyway, so there we go. So don't go to Paraguay. Or if you do go to Paraguay, you'll be rich. Anyway, a third of what a special effects heavy movie like this would usually cost. And there's it filmed on the volume by the looks of it. Working with pioneering studio Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, which was founded in 1975 in order to create the visual effects for Star Wars, British-born Edwards took inspiration from his first film Monsters 2010, an indie made on a tiny budget with a small team. Yes, it was. I think it was £500,000 or dollars. And it's a decent film. Effing camera isn't working. There's always something in there. Most big films... my camera's working. Most big films meticulously plan and build elaborate sets before shooting, the majority of their special effects against a blue/green screen, which is hugely expensive. But Edwards switched things up, shooting on location in countries including Cambodia and Thailand. Then adding special effects later, referencing Monsters, which had a crew of just 6, and also shot on location. Edwards says, I was trying to get back to the positives of doing a guerrilla film, as in guerrilla, not guerrilla, not that sort of guerrilla. Doing things on the run. It's a way more efficient, exciting and interesting process. If you go to a location that's like the place in the scene, and if the crew is small enough, it's cheaper to fly anywhere in the world than it is to build a set. Probably. Whatever was the best place in the world we could find for that scene, we would go and shoot it there, knowing that in the computer afterwards we can change things. Locations included Tibet, Cambodia, Vietnam and Japan. And it already looks good before you hand it over to the visual effects company. Working that way has been made easier with recent advances in technology, Edwards explained. We tried to keep everything small, and what allowed for that, which couldn't have happened 5 years ago, was that the camera technology had become really good. A Sony FX3 camera was the tool of choice. It's very cheap and small. I could just move with the camera. It was a massive liberating thing. The careful choice of locations also helped keep the budget down. It looks bigger than your average film. It does, yes, it's really well made. Because every location is an Instagram destination, Edwards tells Kelly. A significant chunk of The Creator was filmed in Thailand because money goes a lot further there. Not quite as far as it does in Paraguay. But creating a film in this way requires a lot of trust on behalf of the visual effects company, who come in at the tail end of the project. Edwards explains that he showed the early stages of the scenes to ILM, so any misunderstandings could be ironed out quickly. And there's Gemma Chan. Shooting on location, they don't tell, British actress plays Maya in The Creator, don't tell us who it is, it's Gemma Chan. Shooting on location was also an advantage for the cast. How was this article going for? Bloody hell, it goes on a while, doesn't it? Crikey. Londoner Andrew Roberts was the on-set special effects supervisor for the film. It's great to have something real for the visual effects artist to build on top of, and also for the actors to be in a space when there is something real that can inform their emotion and their performances, rather than being surrounded by blue or green screen and being told to imagine. Hope your camera's an easy fix. Yes, I hope his camera's an easy fix. Just unplug it and plug it back in, turn it on and off again. I'll reverse the polarity. The film has received much praise for its special effects, although some critics have not been quite as impressed with the storytelling itself. I thought it was amazing. That old Yorkshire geek. The Guardian's Wendy Ide awarded it 4 stars, writing British director Gareth Edwards finally gets to make the sci-fi spectacular he is always destined to tackle. Or he was always destined to tackle. And with this ambitious, ideas-driven, expectations-subverting man versus machine showdown, he has co-written and directed one of the finest original science fiction films of recent years. I agree. But the Evening Standard's Hannah Strong had reservations, awarding it just 2 stars. It's a handsome film and demonstrates the filmmaker's vivid imagination, but this doesn't quite extend to the story itself or its dialogue, which often veers into cheesy territory. I thought it was fine. Hannah Strong's just a big misery guts. For Edwards, the film posed a different challenge to the likes of Rogue One, his last movie, which came out 8 years ago. Reports claim that Lucasfilm left Edwards out in the cold towards the end of the project, bringing in Tony Gilroy to write new dialogue and shoot extra scenes. But, there we go. Edwards has disputed this, however, telling KRCW's The Business Podcast that when Gilroy was brought in, they both worked together until the very end of the movie. Having done these massive franchises, there's pros and cons, Edwards tells BBC Click. The cons are you have this giant fan base and all this pressure, and you cannot fail. It better be a massive hit because there's so many people waiting to see it. When you do an original science fiction film, you've got the opposite problem. No one's heard of it. No one cares. Excuse me. You've got to educate the world about what it's about, why they should go and see it. Which is why studios often buy up franchises or names and use those or make a film that's got sod all to do with it, but they're just grifting on the name, aren't they? I forgot what I want now. When you it's a double-edged sword. You're trying to do something new, but if it's too out there, I just made this stuff up in my head, and everyone is helping me create it. But what if I'm wrong and it doesn't work? Perhaps surprisingly, given his pedigree, Edwards, who hails from Nuneaton, is that in Warwickshire? I think it's in Warwickshire, isn't it? Nuneaton, could be wrong, is his own worst critic. I always think I'm not pushing things enough. I always think I've conformed and sold out. I always look at my heroes and beat myself up. My heroes growing up were Spielberg, Lucas, James Cameron. We could do a lot. We could go a lot further and do something more unique. He trails off. Do something more unique. Trailing off. Sci-Fi says, I've moved it to tomorrow night. Probably the same issue I've had before, but I can't sort it tonight. One a day is probably a better way to go anyway. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. I don't have to rush now. I don't have to rush to the end. But we're nearly done anyway. Look forward to tomorrow. A bit of Can. I forgot where I was now. Trails off. But the day you get through a film and everything about it was easy and fun and enjoyable is the day you made your worst movie, and you should probably retire. And on the creator's Oscar chances, he modestly points out that he's not personally nominated, as the recognition is for the visual effects team, Roberts, Jay Cooper, Ian Comley and Neil Corbould, and the sound crew. As a proud parent of the film, it's a nice end to the journey, he concedes. Roberts adds, I was born and grew up in the UK. My parents are from the Caribbean, a working-class family, and to be at this point of being an Oscar nominee and potentially getting to win, I never could have dreamed of this. Yes, I mean, it's amazing. But anyway, just to get the nomination would be enough for some, for most. So there we go. So that's Gareth Edwards talking on The Creator, which, as I said, my second favourite film of 2023. Give it a whirl. I really liked it. I thought it was great. My favourite film of 2023 was Megan, which was a lot of fun. But there we go. Anyway, so there we go. So we'll leave it there. Right, next up. Right. A couple of obituaries. Some people have passed away, unfortunately. But this first one is from the Star Trek website. Oh, no, I didn't go full screen. See all my tabs. Kenneth Mitchell's passed away, 1974 to 2024. There he is. Oh, pardon me. Let me make that bigger. StarTrek.com is deeply saddened to report the passing of Kenneth Alexander Mitchell, who played the Klingons Kol Shah and Tenavik, as well as Aurelio on Star Trek Discovery. In addition, he voiced several voice characters in an episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. Mitchell passed away at age 49 on February 24th, 2024. Born November 25th, 1974, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Mitchell appeared in multiple films and television shows, including roles such as the father of superhero Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel and the Olympic hopeful in Miracle. Other roles include turns on Jericho, The Astronaut Wives Club, Ghost Whisperer, and Switched at Birth. As Kol, Mitchell hoped to bring a new perspective on Klingon culture to fans through his turn on Discovery. Whether someone is good or bad is all about perspective, and it's about understanding that culture, he told StarTrek.com in 2017. You'll get to know the Klingons on our show, and then people can decide if we really are the villains. No, they were just bloody awful. They were, I'm sorry. They were. Although I did quite like, I've forgotten the name now. I forgot the name of the character. The one that ended up ruling the Empire, that had a kid with that other one, that and pretended to chop the kid's head off. And the kid went off to be the albino on Boreth. But anyway, whatever. I liked her. But anyway, Mitchell is survived by his wife, Susan May Pratt, and their two children. He requested that any gifts be directed towards, I don't know how to pronounce that, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, or in support of his children, Lila and Callum. The entire Star Trek family sends their condolences to Mitchell's family, friends, loved ones and fans around the world. So it's very sad, very sad. Where's that gone? Where'd that disappear to? Oh, well, weird. Yes, very sad. No age, is it? 49. Dear. Oddly enough, speaking of 49, when we were watching, me and Sci-Fi Quest and others were watching Star Trek The Motion Picture earlier on, I was talking about Persis Kambata, who played Lieutenant Ilea in that. She was only 49 when she passed away. She had a massive heart attack. Apparently she was a chain smoker. She had a massive heart attack. But he had Lou Gehrig's disease, did Kenneth Mitchell. So that's very sad. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I've got to be honest, I don't know what that is. But anyway. I used to love Ghost Whisperer. I don't know how much I used to watch it. Jennifer Love Hewitt, wasn't it? And I was always crying at it. I always had me crying in Ghost Whisperer because I'm a soft touch. But I didn't see all of them. But I started watching it when it was first on. But I don't know if it got better or worse or whatever. But I was always crying at the end because I'm a big softie. Anyway, so rest in peace, Kenneth Mitchell. Very sad, very sad. So, right, anyway, and finally, another obituary, I suppose you could say, from Giant Freaking Robot. This one, Jason Collins, iconic James Bond actress, dead at 80. I'm not quite sure I'd use the word iconic. And I saw the headline, I thought, oh, crikey, who's this? And it's not all I thought it was, but, it's still sad. British actress Pamela Salem, who appeared in Sean Connery's final outing as James Bond, Never Say Never Again, died at the age of 80. The news of her death was confirmed by her agent, Maddie Bird-Coutts, and the Big Finish Productions' David Richardson. Salem died Wednesday in Surfside, Florida, but the details surrounding her death, including the cause, weren't revealed, and there she is, in Never Say Never Again. Born in India in 1944, hang on, sorry, we're going back to Ghost Whisperer for a minute. It got really weird when they brought her dead husband back in someone else's body. Can't remember that. I might have stopped watching it then. I can't remember. I saw some Ghost Whisperer, it was okay. I used to like it, I always had me crying. Anyway, born in India in 1944, Pamela Salem is best known for playing James Bond's secretary, Miss Moneypenny, in Sean Connery's 1983 movie Never Say Never Again, a film regarded as an unofficial addition to the Bond canon since Eon Productions didn't handle its production. However, she was better known, it was a Thunderball remake, wasn't it? However, she was better known among Doctor Who audiences for her portrayal of Professor Rachel Jensen from the old Who era, and for her voice performances in Big Finish Productions Doctor Who audiobooks. Is this Remembrance of the Daleks? I think it is, isn't it? Because there's a Quatermass reference in that episode, isn't there? She's going on about, have we heard from Bernard at the British Rocket Group? That's a Quatermass reference, isn't it? But anyway, Pamela Salem made her guest appearances in BBC's Doctor Who as the Sandminer pilot Lish Twos on the Robots of Death episode from 1977. Another favourite of mine. That's a weird one. Creepy. Them robots are creepy. With Tom Baker as the show's eponymous protagonist. She then portrayed the aforementioned Professor in Remembrance of the Daleks in 1988 with Sylvester McCoy's Seventh Doctor. Salem reprised both roles for Big Finish's audio drama series The Robots and its radio spin-off series Countermeasures. And there she is in Never Say Never Again. However, Never Say Never Again is far from being the only screen release Pamela Salem is known for which she is known. Not accounting for 9 Doctor Who episodes, Salem also portrayed the evil sorcerer Belor on the ITV kids series Into the Labyrinth from 1981 to 82. Never heard of it, sorry. She also played an organised crime family member, Joanne Francis, on BBC's EastEnders for 2 seasons, and 1998's period drama Gods and Monsters, where she portrayed the mother of Frankenstein director James Whale, played by Sir Ian McKellen. Is that her on a horse? However, her big screen debut, happened in 1978's The First Great Train Robbery, which also starred Sean Connery. In fact, Salem shared that it was Connery who recommended her to James Bond producers for the iconic role of Ms. Moneypenny, a role that previously belonged to Lois Maxwell. Pamela Salem's acting portfolio also included work on Blake 7, 1978, The Tripods, All Creatures Great and Small, French Fields, Magnum P.I., ER, The West Wing, Party of Five, and Big Love. Yes, that's the end of the sentence with the preposition. Dear. Jack O'Neill, bless him. Besides appearing in Never Say Never Again and the first Great Train Robbery, Pamela Salem also appeared in The Bitch, 1979. Remember that. That was daring back then with Joan Collins. Never seen it. Night Train to Murder, 1983. After Darkness, 1985. 13 at Dinner, 1985. Salome. Is it Salome or Salome? I don't know. 1986. God's Outlaw, 1987. Succubus, 1987. The previously mentioned Gods and Monsters, 1998. Quicksand, 2002. And April's Shower, 2003. The list goes on, and it only showcases Salem's remarkable acting versatility and the breadth of her talent. The passing of Pamela Salem at the age of 80 truly marks the end of an era for the fans of British entertainment, and her lasting performances will undoubtedly continue to inspire and captivate future generations of fans and actors, particularly those admiring her work on BBC's Doctor Who series, which stars Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor and is scheduled to launch in May this year. They had to get it added, didn't they? Even though she had nothing to do with, Ncuti. But anyway, there she is. That's it. Enormously attractive, in my opinion. But anyway, she's passed away. It's very sad. So rest in peace, Pamela Salem, and rest in peace, Kenneth Mitchell. A sad day for fans of genre movies and TV. Right, that's it. We're done. We'll leave it there. Right, so I'm going to order a curry now because I just fancy one. Yeah, it's going mad, isn't it? It is. I need to trim this here. It needs trimming again. Bloody things. And that guy from the Ukraine office died a couple of days ago. I have no idea. The Ukraine office. What, that the Ukraine version of the office? I have no idea. I don't know. Don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. UK. Oh, UK office. Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. I've forgotten his name. Sorry. Yes, I know you mean. Yes, I know you mean. Oh, autocorrect, yes. Yes, one of the characters, like Scotch eggs and all that, didn't he? Yes, I've forgotten his name. But he was speaking of, being typecast or stereotyped or whatever, typecast, they were just known as that character, wasn't he? Anyway. I'm going to watch The Wi-Fi's Mystery Beneath the Ice. It's good. It's very interesting. And I went to look. They mention a documentary by Linda Moulton Howe that's on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Video. You can rent or buy it. I thought, I'll see how much it is. $14.99. I thought, bloody hell, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. So maybe it'll appear free at some point or go down in price. I'm not paying 15 quid. Even though I do like Linda Moulton Howe and I can listen to her talk forever. But anyway. Right, we'll leave it there. So, thanks, Wingrace, thanks, Sci-Fi Quest. And we had Daniel Castellar Garcia in as well earlier on. And Tim Rose, didn't we? I think we did. Sure we did. Yes, we did. There they are. They popped in earlier on. So thank to them for taking part in the chat. Right, what's coming up? What day are we on? Sunday. Tomorrow... Tomorrow, for Magnificent Mondays, we're doing Tomb Raider, the first one, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, to give it its official title, starring Angelina Jolie. We're doing that tomorrow, so looking forward to that. And there's the old Blu-ray, so watch the special features on that. And there are some, because it says there, special features. And then on Friday, next week's Appointment with Fear, we're doing... Make sure I pick the right one up. The Mist, the colour version, not the black and white one. I've got both versions. Stunning black and white version and the colour version. But do the colour version. So we're doing The Mist. Frank Darabont's The Mist. That's next Friday. But I don't think Joshua Kanapke might be there because he says it kills him, the end of that film. So anyway, Later, Steve, take it. See you tomorrow for most of Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Yes. Tomb Raider. No! Not doing a double bill. Just the one. Because they're not connected, are they? The films, they're their own thing, aren't they? So it don't matter. We don't have to do them both. Right, so we'll leave it there. I'm going to order my curry now. And anyway. Right, so off we go. Right. So is that it? Are we done? I'm chuntering now. I don't know what to do. Right, so we'll leave it there. No double feature. No double feature. Why don't you do a double feature sci-fi quest? Why don't you do Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3 tomorrow? Yeah. Then you'll be saying. You can do a gameplay first too. I might be playing Tomb Raider 2 again tomorrow. So it kind of will be a double feature. I'll be playing Tomb Raider 2 for a bit. Probably shouting and swearing at it, like I do. And then watch the films with the special features and stuff. Anyway, whatever. Right, so I'm going now. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wait, hang on. Then I wouldn't be able to watch you. No. Right, we're going. So anyway, thanks guys for helping me out in the chat. I keep forgetting. I keep meaning to put the link, for people to join in the chat, and I keep forgetting. I'm dead stupid. I just start waffling and go through the stories, and I forget that I'm supposed to be pasting the. I'll try and remember next time. Anyway, right. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. I'm trying to remember the outro now. Wherever you look after each other, and until next time, I'll see the blah 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 and all that stuff. Right, I'm going. Bye.